A culture has been created over the past few years that fostered a secretive agenda to undermine efforts to expose the manipulative tactics of the corrupt and brutal Burma regime, targeting our ethnic people, forcing them into the NCA, Nationwide Ceasefire Agreement, designed to rid the region of its ethnic people. As a result, a pro-NCA faction began orchestrating vicious attacks on those that exposed the NCA as a means of Burmanization. The attacks continued to include trying to undermine the DC events for the past 2 years, and even some that received threats and even vandalism to their vehicles. As a result, this issue is very polarizing because of the obvious implications. Recently, information surfaced from a, quote, secret meeting in Chiang Mai to discuss how to advance the NCA in the midst of the major resistance from a majority of ethnic people. Additional information included that a group would be heading from the United States to Kathule, stating that they would represent Karen in the U.S. and meet for training and even meetings with the corrupt and brutal Burma regime and Aung San Suu Kyi, along with the, quote, secret group that met in Chiang Mai. When reporting this information, because of the group's continual deception, yet I still always make sure to never release names of those implicated because one never really knows what is true when dealing with those using deceptive tactics. I have made it a point, even with the pro-NCA faction undermining DC, to simply refer to them as the pro-NCA group. Posts were made to some individual Facebook pages that were then screen captured and shared with others, identifying 3 people by name. One of the 3 has articulated that the information was inaccurate. It is important that people allow them to correct their position, but it is also equally important to understand the need for answers to the following questions that still remain. Number 1, what was the purpose of the meeting in DC? Number 2, are you heading to Kathule and Burma for meetings, yes or no? And if so, what is the nature, purpose, and who is attending? Number 3, what is your position on the NCA? Do you support it or do you condemn its precept? And have you been affiliated with that pro-NCA group that sought to undermine the DC event? These are legitimate questions, but even so, I never believe it is helpful to release names because people can be warned and alerted about these secretive tactics without having to name actual people that might then result in conflict or misinformation. In addition, some of what has caused this phenomenon is people have secretive agendas. Instead of just saying what they believe and having the right to choose what you want to do without any threats and coercion, forcing the majority that are against the NCA to support it. America offers freedom to associate with whom you choose and to hold positions that you want without fear of reprisal. When the pro-NCA group used those tactics of threats and intimidation, it set a dangerous precedence and tone that really needs to be reined in. Instead of silencing our pro-NCA critics, we chose to merely allow them to be on the center stage to show all of the Karen who they really are and the horrible tactics that they use. And it caused them to be revealed, and they ultimately destroy themselves and their credibility. People must let their yes be yes and their no be no. Secretive agendas result in distrust and division. I encourage all, be very careful who you align with, as passions run high because the NCA stands between our ethnic people and their desire for freedom and self-determination. Our people continue to suffer under the corrupt and brutal Burma regime's force of the NCA. So if you align with those that are forcing it on others, you too will likely be typecast in the same light. Interestingly, when I have confronted those trying to force the NCA on others, I ask them, if they so desire the NCA, then move their entire family back to the region, and they should themselves live under Burmese rule under the NCA that they try to impose on others. They end up staying silent with nothing to say.